Hello, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. So, this week I'm going to get to the August stats from right across the country, everywhere but the East Coast. They don't report until the middle of the month. And I have had some requests for like Sudbury and North Bay. I checked out their stats. They're also behind, so I might include them next month, depending on the timing. But yeah, they report again late like the East Coast, and there's not a lot of data up there either. Anyway, let's get into this week's news, starting with this. So, posted from Melissa, OMG, City of Hamilton issues order to a resident to remove security cameras from his home. Now, this guy has a security camera in front of his house. He lives in the armpit of Ontario in Hamilton, downtown, it looks like to me. Sorry for any of the Hamilton loyalists out there. The mountain's nice, escarpment's nice anyway. But, you know what I'm talking about if you know. Anyway, let's check out what this guy has to say. Pretty absurd and draconian, if you ask me.
Week, Miles received an order to comply with the city's fortification bylaw, asking him to remove his cameras. The bylaw says homeowners are not permitted to view or listen beyond the perimeters of their own property.
A notice from bylaw, I thought, how could this be? Everybody has Ring doorbell cameras pointed at the street and city property, and my neighbors have cameras pointed at my house, and we all...
The City of Hamilton has confirmed the order to remove the cameras to CHCH News.
Now, I don't know about you, but I have cameras, and like, how do you not have them pointed at some sort of municipal or at the street or whatever it is? And it seems a little ridiculous to me. I actually had the police knock on my door one day asking for my footage after there was an incident on my street, and they wanted to see if they could catch a car that was driving by or something. So, yeah, I think that's very unreasonable. Cameras are pointed all over the place at streets and wherever randomly. But let me know what you think. Do you think this is a unreasonable request, or do you think this is the way it should be? Canada's unemployment rate comes in at 7.1% last week, and 8.4% unemployment in Alberta. That's pretty high. 7.7 in Ontario, and you can see all the numbers there. But yeah, unemployment is rising. It is part of my home buying recipe. We're at 7.1. Last update I did was when it hit 7, and it did drop back a little bit below that, but I didn't correct the home buying recipe because I knew it would be going back up to 7.1. So it's probably going to go higher. It most likely will go higher. And once it hits that 7.5, we'll have a full battery bar in that one. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but it could take 6 to 12 months. But yeah, things are going the direction they're supposed to be going, given previous cycles. And somebody just posted a couple of things about people looking for jobs. We clearly need more foreign workers in Canada to create jobs for the foreign workers, Bruce says. And this is at a job fair event in Hamilton, Ontario. One of the nicest cities in the world, mind you. Forget about what I just said. Anyway, check this out. This is a pretty long line, and I'm going to mute the music because I'll probably get a copyright strike for it. I did give this video a quick look. It doesn't look like it's just all a bunch of foreign students here either. There's clearly a mix of people. A lot of students, obviously. Yeah, there's guys in suits and whatever else. So, yeah, a lot of people there looking for job. Whatever job. I don't know what job fair this is, but, when you have a turnout like that, people are obviously looking for work. Wow, look at that lineup. Holy cow, it keeps going around the corner. I thought that was it. And another one here from Rational Post. This is at an LCBO somewhere in Ontario. I don't know if it's Toronto or whatnot, but yeah, check out the guys at the door. They're like fighting to get in, and they're obviously holding resumes and whatnot here. So these people are like jammed up against each other, trying to get in this door to get their resume to LCBO because they know it's probably a good job in comparison to what they can find. And yeah, they're pushing their way through. From Daniel Foch here, looks like it's from the walrus.ca, some article here. No one wants to buy a condo. Canadians piled into real estate investment. Now their units are worth less than their mortgage. Well, obviously that's the way it is. Nobody wanted a condo. They just wanted to make money. So they just piled into these things thinking they're going to make all this money, sell them pre-construction, assign them, whatever they could do. Just a money-making scheme. But that ship has sailed, and now they're left with condos that are worth less than their mortgage. And a lot of people, these people would have put 20% down. So it's not less than their mortgage; it's less than their down payment and everything. So they're taking big losses, and this is going to continue on. If you listen to anyone, Ron Butler, I think just did a video about it. Like, it's not over, and of course it's not over. There's still a long road ahead of us. Another one from Daniel Foch here. Toronto just posted one of the biggest year-over-year increases in active inventory ever. So ever, up 22.4%, rivaled only by May 2025, up a whopping 41.5%. And as I always say, real estate in Canada is a Ponzi scheme, and there's literal Ponzi schemes out there. There's lots of them, actually. There's another one in Alberta, I think. But this Guelph developer declares multiple bankruptcies and faces allegations of operating a Ponzi scheme, promises of low-risk investment on the back of 45 years of real estate success have investors out over $75 million. There is like tons of Ponzi schemes. Some of them might be pyramid schemes, and the difference is, I think, how illegal they are, which kind of separates them. A pyramid, obviously, they need more people at the bottom, but they actually are using your funds for the right things. Or not just taking the money. A Ponzi scheme, they're literally just taking your money and doing whatever they want with it. But you're going to hear a lot more about these, and a lot more are going to pop up in the news. Because, people like living these extravagant lifestyles when they think they're, running the successful business. But, another Ponzi scheme there in Guelph. All right, let's get into the August stats, starting with the month-over-month price change from July to August this year. How did these places fare? So we have a few more places down than they are up month over month, and you'll see the increases month over month are a lot less than the decreases. And actually, Halton there, I was going to say most of them are the usual suspects, but Halton, they are up 3.5. Victoria is up 3.4. Saskatchewan, you have a lot of the usual suspects here, up 1.9. Montreal up 1.5, and so on. Province of Quebec. Fraser Valley, they're up, but anyway, they're down in every other metric. And then at the other end, at the top of the chart here, so the losses here, Northumberland Hills down 11.6% month over month. Now, it's very volatile there. There's not a lot of inventory, so it gets skewed easily. Not a lot of data, I should say. And Kingston and area down 9.5% month over month, and they did have some big month over month increases. Again, they kind of swing with the seasons, I think, there. Peterborough down 6%, Barrie and Simcoe down 4.7%, and you can see them as you go down the list there. Toronto down 1.7% month over month. Calgary even down month over month, and it looks like Calgary has topped. I've looked at their data, and there's August was like the lowest month over month increase. Actually, it was flat. It was like tiny little bit up, like point something of a percent, but it was flat. And that's the first time that it's been flat in like 2.5 years. So it looks like their yearly increases and month over month increases are ending right now. And they're the first one out of Ontario and BC. That's outside of Ontario and BC, I should say, that is kind of hit their peak and they're starting their decline. Well, these other places seem like relative deals for a lot of people, and they're still playing catch up. But yeah, Calgary, it looks like they've turned the page and they're going to be decreasing from here on out. All right, let's move on to those year-over-year price changes. And you'll see right in the middle there, actually, Calgary, right in the middle, 0.0. So their first month year-over-year that they haven't increased in 2.5 years. And I'm guessing September, October, you're going to see year-over-year declines. So not looking good for Calgary. But as expected, they had a bubble out there, and it was still reaching new highs this year and last year. So they're gonna meet their ultimate fate at this point when it comes to their real estate speculation. So at the top there we have York down 7.8%. That's a big decrease. I'm just going to call out the top and the bottom ones here instead of going through them all because I have the actual dollar figures right after this. York down 7.8%. Waterloo region down 6.6% year over year. Durham region down 4.2%. Durham region is, that's a tough one out there. There's going to be a lot of money lost in Durham region. They're always up with the biggest losses percentage-wise and dollar figure-wise. Anyway, Fraser Valley down 3.9%. And at the bottom, you have Saskatchewan up 13.6% year over year. So again, one of these tertiary markets, it looks like, not even secondary. And people are still going there because you can get a house for like $300,000, $1,000 still, right? You can't even build them that cheap in most of the country. So I don't know if people are moving there or speculating or investing, but I'd like to know if you're a realtor in Saskatchewan, let me know. Is there a lot of investors or speculators going there, or is this locals or people actually end users living and moving into Saskatchewan? Province of Quebec next in line, up 10.7% year over year. Montreal up 9%, and Edmonton up 6%. Looking at that same year-over-year changes, but in dollar figures, again at the top, $100,000 in York region, which is huge. That's just year-over-year for August. So anyone that bought last August, you lost 100 grand. And Waterloo region is next, down 52,000. Fraser Valley down 41,000. Durham region down 38. At the bottom of the page there, the increases. Victoria, BC up 56,000. Victoria's got a very strong market, very desirable place to live. It is beautiful out there. They got a lot of social issues from what I hear now, but anyway, it's still a nice place. I think that's why they do so well. And Montreal up 55,000, province of Quebec up 53,000, and Saskatchewan up 43,000 year over year. Now, looking at the changes from the peak, starting with the percentage, I'm just going to read the top few and the bottom few here. Durham region down 30% almost from their peak. That's a big number, 30%, and it's the summertime. Like, I know the summer's not the greatest. August was pretty good actually, but 30%. Just wait until the winter. Like, they're going to be 35 plus. Waterloo region almost 30% again. Northumberland Hills down 29%. Peel down 26.8, 27%. And at the bottom there, we have Edmonton down 1.9. Again, they did just reach their peak this year. So this is 1.9 from this year at some point. Saskatchewan down 0.6%. Province of Quebec up 0.2%, all new high, up just over, I think it's $1,000 or something. And Montreal up 1.7%. Let's look at that same data, but in dollar figures. Again, just going to stick with the top four there. York region, 375,000. Durham region down 366. Peel region down 361. And Halton down 353. What do we notice about all these places? They're all in the GTA. Toronto or Greater Toronto area leads this market crash. And there's a good reason for that. They had insane prices and tons of speculation there. Then you have all the way down at the bottom there, you have Montreal up $11,000, all new high in August. Province of Quebec up $1,000, again, all new high. And Saskatchewan down $2,000 and Edmonton down $9,000 from their peak, which was both this year. Now, I'd like to know with Quebec and Montreal, like, what is going on there? Your average price is like $669,000 or something in Montreal. And why is the market so strong there? Why are you guys still reaching new peaks? It's not like you guys are like Saskatchewan where it's a bargain price, 350 or 300,000. Like, I don't know much about Quebec and Montreal and their market. If you know a lot, or if you're an agent, drop me a comment, let me know. Or if you want to come on for an interview, I'd love to talk about that. People like talking or like listening to these conversations we have. I'd like to know a lot more about why it's so strong there. And lastly, we have the sales to new listings ratio. The market balance, of course, below 40% or 45, depending on who you ask, is a buyer's market, and above 40 to 60 or 45 to 65 is balanced, and above 60 or 65 is a seller's market. So you don't have many places in sellers markets. Depending on what metric you use, it could be 3, there could be 1. But Saskatchewan up there, 71%. This is why they're seeing these 13.6% year-over-year price increases. And province go back to 63% sales to new listings ratio, and 63 in Montreal too. So it's still a seller's market there. This is why you're seeing these prices increase. Lots of demand there. Again, I'd love to know why Quebec has such high demand. Maybe they're not getting the same news as us or the same forecasts from the big players. Maybe they're not listening to this channel. Maybe that's why. But again, I'd like to know more about that. And I'm going to go back to the other end of the scale here, Barrie, Simcoe, all these places here. You have at least a third or 2/5, whatever it is. There's a good few there. Peel region, Fraser Valley, York, Toronto, Niagara region, Windsor, Essex, Halton, Durham region, and Northumberland Hills, all in buyers markets. Then you get into the balanced territory with Waterloo region, London area, Guelph, Hamilton, Peterborough, Greater Vancouver, Victoria, Kingston an area, Ottawa. Ottawa's always been at the high end of that. Again, lots of demand there from all those bureaucrats. And Calgary even. Calgary's in a balanced market. It has been trending down. Look at Calgary, the gray number there. So the gray number, 62%, 58% this year. So you see a lot of places where obviously higher last year, meaning it was a healthier market, more into a balanced territory. This year it's worse. There's a worse market for most places. but they are starting to tighten up. So again, we're going to see the market. It looks like we're not as extreme as many other months. We will see once the fall kicks in and we see the September's and October's numbers, but we could be getting close to things kind of leveling off at the bottom when it comes to sales now. And I'm not talking about prices. We're talking about the number of sales, but there's still, most places are still worse off than they were last year. So we are trending down in the market, and probably next year, maybe we'll be even with this year, which is not a good year, and things will start to take their toll. These sales numbers, they will start to take their toll on the market. They are doing it now, and you see a lot of things happening out there and a lot of interesting scenarios, which I'm going to talk about right now of the one thing that I see. So lastly, before I go, I just want to talk about what I see out there in the market. So I see a lot of end users moving. I see a lot of people actually moving that, we talk about this, and I don't like this term pent up demand, but people, they've waited. They've waited. They don't want to compete. It was so hard to move. You try to buy a house, you can't do it because someone else is going to beat you out of it and you have a house to sell. So a lot of what we see is this move up and move down kind of buyers right now, people selling a house, buying another one, lots of sale of property conditions, right? So like I run into so many sale of property conditions. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. It's a tough situation. But what's happening is, say like I want to sell my house and buy something nicer. So I'll put an offer and I'll say, well, you got your house listed for whatever, 800,000, and it just came on the market maybe, and I'll give you 790. So I give you a great offer that's really not representative of the market right now and how we negotiate. But it's because I'm going to sell my overpriced house. I'm going to sell my house for top dollar. I think I'm going to get this much. So I'm kind of giving you a fake offer based on what I can sell my house for. And then that seller of that $800,000 house has this offer. Well, this guy's got to sell his house. Maybe it'll sell, maybe it won't, right? But again, this is based off of market numbers, one market price and buying another market price. What happens when that guy below doesn't get his price? He's probably going to want to renegotiate. But in the meantime, that seller with the $800,000 house will have other showings, and someone will come through and they'll say, well, I'll give you, 750 or whatever. That's my max. And the guy's going to say, no, like I already got a better offer than that. And it's like, yeah, but that's like, I'll buy your overpriced house if I can sell my overpriced house. So it really is affecting the market, that situation too. But again, in time, these things start to fail and people realize, and then they have to, they're like, okay, it's been a month or two and you haven't sold your house. Like this offer was too good to be true. So I'm just going to move on. But in the meantime, they're expecting more. So this is really, it is affecting the market a little bit from what I can see in my area, and kind of holding things up. And this is what, it's a lot harder for prices to go down than they are to go up, right? So it takes a lot more effort and a lot more arm twisting for that to happen. Anyway, that's it for this week. As always, let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time.